There are few universal truths. Psycho is a classic. Money buys you time, and of course,
clear alcohols are for rich women on diets.
And besides a keyboard contrarian that'll cry about Hitchcock's masterpiece being overrated on Twitter, I've always been fascinated with its 3 wild sequels, and the one I'm digging into today was the entry made during the height of the 80s slasher boom. Directed by the man himself, Anthony Perkins, this sequel bridged the gap between one of the early slashers and where the subgenre ended up. So pour yourself something nice, smoke 'em if you got 'em, and let's not wake mother. This is Psycho 3. But even if this series has settled in the rearview mirror of the genre, I'm still fascinated by the sequel trilogy we got 23 years after the original. Psycho 3 will always hold a special place in my heart. Coming out 3 years after the second movie, but taking place only 1 month after, Bates has completely lost it and has reverted back to his old ways, running the motel and fully off his rocker. The mythology has been deepened with the explanation that Norma wasn't Bates' actual mother, but his aunt. And Emma Spool, the waitress from the diner, was his biological mother. And as a man willing to make things happen, he quickly puts her in the window, making his transformation or digression complete. And in his older state of crazy, Norman comes in contact with 2 characters that will shape his future and fate. A nun in a crisis of faith,
Maureen Coyle. That's a pretty name.
played by Diane Scarwood, responsible for manslaughter and on the run with nowhere to go. My man Fahey, the lawnmower man, Lapidus. The King of Kings, plays a great and over-the-top
Dwayne Duke.
a sleazy wannabe musician driving across country. And both, for better or worse, well, it's for worse, find their way to Bates Motel. 1986 was a different time, and like anything iconic or important, there becomes a moment where you settle into the past and a new generation takes over. I mean, I still think Super Unknown is new, and the fact that it's almost considered classic rock makes me absolutely devastated. Psycho is historic and culturally important. Yet what makes Perkins' take on Psycho 3 so fun is that it plays in the sandbox of 80s schlock. While Richard Franklin and Tom Holland's Part 2 aimed for a grounded thriller feel, Psycho 3 goes ultra stylish with embellished performances, creative scene transitions, and a brighter and more exaggerated color scheme. We start with Norman at 11, playing normal
Cabin 1.
Makes it kind of cozy.
Damn, dude, play it cool. Just play it cool, man. Duke is the first to cross Norman's path, instantly becoming assistant manager, helping him with the day-to-day tasks at the motel. And Fahey came to work on this movie set. I mean, dude may be the best side character in the whole series.
Said the spider to the fly.
Fahey's Duke. He embodies the excess and over-dramatization the 80s had to offer. Dwayne Duke is aggressively charming, obviously scheming, drinks like a champ, and is horny to the bone. Not to mention some of the best lines in the movie. A few minutes into meeting him, we get this absolute gold.
You could have been coming instead of going.
Yeah, I know, we're supposed to hate him, but with any villain character that is this level of all in, I usually end up loving everything about him, and the Duke, or Dwayne, I don't know, whatever, is no exception. Now on the other side, we have the nun on the run, Maureen, who's lost her faith, accidentally murdered a coworker, and happens to look a lot like Marion Crane. And so we follow Norman and his prude, murderous mother as he falls in love and seemingly tries to make amends with his past. Maureen is his second chance. At this point in the series, the selling point is solely resting on Perkins' shoulders. And of course, a classically trained actor takes the role and runs with it. In Part 3, he's more neurotic and awkward, yet still possesses that, innocent homeschool charm. And it's a different performance from the sequel. And though a natural progression from it, there's almost like a cult-born follower in his mannerisms. When Norman came into the sequel, Part 2, he was a man trying to accept his past and illness. While Norman in Part 3 is barely keeping it together. I mean, his shattered reality is in pieces, and he really can't hide it. A big thing I liked, and something I want to give credit for, is Perkins' style of vocal cadence. I mean, it's fascinating here. His spacing and tone is so bizarre, it's magical.
12 cabins, 12 vacancies. Well, we've been closed for a while, renovations, but there's more life along this road than there used to be, and good prices, good service, things will pick up.
Inspired by the Coen brothers' Blood Simple, which he took this entire crew to see, Perkins wanted to style a slasher in that sort of grimy noir vibe, where everyone is a cheat and a sleaze. Mixed with the overt use of black humor gives us, in my humble opinion, the best Psycho sequel to date. But here, in Psycho 3, there's no actual comedy, but odd situations that walk the line of horror and a bit of the absurd. I mean, take the sex scene with Duke and Red, the cute bar patron. This is such a bizarre scene, it was burned into my memory. It is a permanent memory. It still stands as this strange, parody-esque sex scene. I don't get this, but it's so great. It's this entire scene that sells exactly why Psycho 3 is strangely interesting, oddly horny, and fits perfectly into the new, well, I mean, at the time it's the 80s, style of slasher. I mean, let's take Red's death scene. And it's as 80s as one could be. It's lit with exaggerated moodiness, a great boob shot, along with a bloody, aggressive demise. And side note, I actually love that Norman fired one creep and hired another. In part 2, he fired Toomey, and I get it, Toomey was selling drugs, but Duke is basically the younger version. And another side note to a side note, I love that Dennis Franz is iconic for playing a tough New York street cop with a Chicago accent so thick you'd think he was a retired iron worker living in Bridgeport.
I hope he washes dishes better than he runs a motel. What are you gonna ask for a motel so far from the beaten track, huh?
But I digress. And since there is a religious theme of the loss of faith partnered with the bookending of Maureen being the new Marion Crane, we get an interesting psychology between these two characters. Bates, obsessed still with Marion Crane, sees this both as a second chance and the ultimate temptation, while Maureen wrongfully takes Norman's kindness and help as a sign from God. And this movie does some good mirroring scenes to the original without coming off tacky or forced. Like when Norman goes full mother and right before he can off Maureen, in the exact same way he did Marion, he finds that she beats him to the punch. And in her dying state sees him as a Virgin Mary and the knife as a crucifix. And her falling to the floor becomes the Marion Crane shot. This dreamy imagery is the kind of thing Perkins excels at here. And though, of course, if you read online he thinks he wasn't a good director and he didn't do a good job here, that's bullshit. I know this is his first, but I can say with full confidence that he knocked it out of the park. Psycho 3 was directed with style and grace, and hats off to Perkins for finding his voice so confidently, even if he couldn't see it. Another small detail I enjoyed that I don't think gets brought up enough, and one that adds to the overall heightened reality, is that we see things from the perspective of Norman more than ever before. Mother changing positions, hell, she even points in one scene. And being that the focus in this movie is he's more nuts than he's ever been, he has digressed to where there isn't a split personality but a dueling one, each aware of each other. The ending fight between Norman and Duke feels like it could have come out of the same mind of Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And again, not to drive the same point home, but Fahey owns the f***ing show.
Oh, God bless you and keep you, dear mother. Bates.
This is where you absolutely need to hate the guy, but he's just so fun. And this scene between him and Norman in this cool pink-colored room, it's just so weird, so sweaty. And again, oddly sexual.
Don't cry poor to me, Norman, with that big piece of real estate up in the hill and this thriving business. Why, if things got tight, you could just sell an acre.
And I know this is a sexual series, but I mean, the 80s vibe really changes it up. We get to tie in a few classic moments. Like I said earlier, it mirrors the original movie. Maureen gets the trippy stare kill, first being Milton Arbogast, and now Maureen Coyle. Norman Bates finally succumbs to his madness, and with a little sanity that was there all along, kills Mother, instead of, that law-breaking journalist Tracy. And so we come full circle, and Norman ends up back where he has always belonged, giving us a cool transformation in the back of the police car. The background and lighting shift, showing Norman in his most natural state. There isn't a high body count, and though this takes a lot from the slasher style of the time, it's still a psychological horror flick at its core. and the exaggerated take on the material will always hold a special place in my heart. These were the VHS staples during my family video years, and all of the covers, especially Part 3, just leans into the schlock that I have loved since I was that of a small child. Psycho 3 may not be one you'd ever think of giving a chance. I get it, it's the third movie in a very long series that may not live up to the classic status of the original, but shows how to take the material into a new generation while still respecting its origins. Perkins comes out of the gate swinging with his directorial debut, and I'm here to sing its praise.